We should just have the mindset of not looking at ourselves and kind of wanting to do things for the right reasons. And one of my favorite things that I wrote down was the danger isn't looking fake, but it's staying fake so long that you never learn how to be real with God, and just stressing that importance of not only doing the bare minimum, not doing performative Christianity, but curing it through our private worship and not being so attracted to our image in the public.
What we give our attention to is kind of like what we become, I guess, in a way. All of us have gone through like similar things, but also different. So we could bond over different things and help people that have already gone through the same situation as us keep their eyes on Jesus.
Welcome to Let's Talk About That, the podcast where we deep dive into Sunday's message and explore your questions. I'm your host, Aston Kank, and I'm excited to share this journey with you. Whether you're a longtime member of the Orchard or a first-time visitor, Let's Talk About That is your space to explore, reflect, and connect. Join us as we navigate the intricacies of faith, spirituality, and daily life, seeking to understand how the wisdom shared on Sundays can be applied to our modern challenges. So, grab a cup of coffee, find a comfortable space, and let's dive in together. This is Let's Talk About That, where the conversation about Sunday's message never stops.
All right, welcome back to Let's Talk About That. I am filling in for Miss Aston, our host, because we are on location at Bold. This is the, second annual Boldcast. I got Pastor Eddie here with me.
Yes, I much prefer the time of this one than last year.
Yeah, last year we recorded this one at about 11.
11? Was it midnight?
I don't remember. It was really late last night. Actually, I think we have one of the ladies at least who recorded with us last year here for this podcast today. But I'm going to let the small group leader of this group sitting around our table introduce them. We have the, regular podcast guest by now, Miss Erin Schrock here.
The occasional podcast guest.
How many podcasts have you been on?
I don't even know.
Like more or less than 4?
I would say at least 4.
Yeah. At least 4.
Yeah,
4's a good over-under.
Yeah.
So Erin is here because we have sitting around the table her small group, because not only is Erin the one who keeps the buildings at the Orchard from burning down and make sure we all get our paychecks, she is a small group leader for a small group in Branford. So Erin, why don't you tell us a little bit about your small group? Who are these young people sitting around the table right here?
Hey, yeah. So as Chip said, I'm Erin. I lead the junior and senior high school girls in Brantford and one sophomore over there. She snuck in on us, but that's cool. We meet every Wednesday. I've been with some of these girls since they were middle schoolers, like 6th graders. So the goal is we're gonna get them graduated next year. So that'll be cool. I'll have been with them for the majority of their middle school and high school years. So I feel like honestly they're children at this point.
Yeah. How many gray hairs have they added to your head?
Maybe a few. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty interesting sometimes.
So it's got to be interesting because you are like Leanne and I in the sense that you only got boys.
Yeah, I'm a boy mom, hardcore.
And this is a girl small group, and
yeah, I think one of you guys a couple weeks ago, we were leaving on a Wednesday night and they were like, Miss Erin, do you feel like you have like 10 daughters? And I was like, yeah, some days. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's fantastic. So we're excited to have these ladies around the table and just get to hear from them a little bit. So why don't we start out with this? Just kind of tell me about Bold. Like, what do you think about Bold? Some of you, it's your first year, not looking at anyone in particular, Rayleigh, but it's the first year for some people, and some people have been here since before it was Bold, not looking at the young lady who's sitting next to Rayleigh. So any of you, hop in, introduce yourself, tell us about Bold.
Hi, guys. My name's Brianna Bars, and I'm a junior at Branford.
Are you certain of that?
Maybe.
Okay, you sure?
Depends if who's asking. Anyways, so whenever I think of Bold, I'm kind of like Unk status now, I guess. This is
hold on. I'm not sure that anyone listening to this outside of sitting around those tables knows what Unk status means.
Okay.
And some sitting around the table.
Okay. Well, basically the definition is like old. Like I have been around for a few. This isn't my first rodeo, basically. Like,
all right, fair.
I've been here a few years.
Would you consider me an Unk, Brianna?
Just because I don't want to. Yes. No.
Oh my gosh. All right, go ahead.
I meant
status.
no. I meant no.
Yeah, I bet you did. Tell us about Bold. You've been around. How many years have you been at Bold?
Well, this is the 3rd year, but technically the first year was D now.
Oh, all right.
I still remember D now.
Hey, hold on.
Okay. Well, whenever I think of Bold, I think of like fun times with friends. Being out by the water is always nice. But spiritually, I think it's like a really rejuvenating little retreat, I guess. People talk about like, I don't know what the word is.
Jesus.
Yeah, no. I don't know what, like retreat, I guess, would be the word.
Okay.
But I think it's really like community, because these are the girls that I see every day. But we get to come out here and we really get to like dive deeper into God's word and dive deeper into what it really means to be bold and how we apply that whenever we go back to our daily lives. Because I feel like people often associate bold with church camp, or like they compare and contrast bold and church camp being the same thing. But I really think that bold is more of like how do you apply this to your daily life, rather than church camp being like, oh, this one big experience.
Okay. I like
Whatever.
it. I like it. Do you have like you've been at Bold for 3 years and D now before Bold. What's your favorite memory?
My favorite memory would have to be the very first year, me, Ashley, and Ella, really. I had some stuff going on. It was kind of like wishy-washy, kind of like lukewarm. At Bold, I had this crazy encounter. I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you. It was just really refreshing and stuff. That's probably my best memory. Literally just being so free, being released of all the stuff, the chains and whatever. Like, I had a really great encounter that year. I feel like that's really been my foundation that I've, for the past 3 years, have been building my relationship with Christ off of that. That's
good.
My best memory.
That's great. That's a great answer, Unc. Good job.
Thanks.
Nailed it. Who wants to go next?
Hey, this is Rylan Roush.
Other Unc status.
Yeah, I would say I'm an Unc as well. I'm a senior. And I was back in the D Now days too, when it was called D Now. For me, Bold, I always use the phrase, it kind of like fuels my fire a little bit, I think. The fire for the Holy Spirit. I feel like every time I come to Bold, I leave feeling a little bit more encouraged and a little bit more, just like Bree kind of said, refreshed and renewed. And I think for me, it started from the foundation from D Now. It was my first time like really getting into leading worship. I've been doing that since I was like 14, 15, I think.
Was that your first time doing it?
That was right after I started leading worship. I'd only been leading worship for a couple months at that point. And I remember getting to lead worship in front of my peers and thinking about how encouraging it is to feel that community, like Bree said, of everybody being on fire for the Holy Spirit. And that kind of set the foundation that every year I come to Bold, I'm like, I get to be on fire with my peers and worship on fire with my peers. And there's like no shame in that. I can just worship freely, I feel like, here.
That's good. Do you have a favorite memory?
Worship, for sure. Everyone knows my answer is always worship.
All right. How about this? How about somebody who hasn't been here for 3 years? Tell us about what you're thinking with Bold.
Okay, yeah. So, hi, my name is Rayleigh Brado. I'm the sophomore of the group.
Wow, you didn't have to out yourself like that. What's the opposite of Unc?
Sophomore.
Yeah, well done. Pastor Eddie coming up clutch.
Yeah, so I've enjoyed Bold so far. We've had the other D-Nows that I've been to, but Bold's honestly stood out just because I have such a good group of friends here. I've just really connected with this group ever since moving back. And it's just been really nice to worship together. And like, these are the people that I see in my daily life at school and youth on Wednesday nights and church on Sundays. So it's just really good to like see everybody get together and worship freely and just feel good about themselves. Pastor Chip said, have that little energy drink in the middle of winter as we're going on, about to finish up the school year and just finish up on fire for Jesus.
Yeah. So you guys have all mentioned, hey, these are the people I go to school with. Is that easier or harder? Because when it's people you go to school with, sometimes they also not just your friends and that they're your friends, but they know the other stuff you got going on and they've seen you when you've blown it and they've heard the rumors and yet now you're at this place with them. So is it easier or harder, you think, to be with your friends in a place like this?
Hi, I'm Sophia McCall. I'm a senior. I'd say probably easier because then we can all be real with each other. We all basically know everyone's problems because we all talk and like to yap and we can't keep our mouth shut.
Like to yap.
But I think it's just easier because then we can connect with each other and like base. All of us have gone through like similar things, but also different. So we could bond over different things and help people that have already gone through the same situation as us. keep their eyes on Jesus and like help them go through the things.
So that brings an interesting question to me is I would be interested to know, so does this carry over into accountability when you get back to school? I mean, it's cool to be here out by the river and we're all in a spiritual environment, but then do you hold each other accountable a little bit when you get back to school? Just curious.
Well, honestly, I don't see all of them at school because a lot of them are dual enrollment, but I think we should.
I thought you were calling them out for skipping each other.
No.
Oh, wow, well, this is going to get real.
No, I'm not smart like them. But guys, yeah, I mean, I think we definitely should keep each other accountable because we do see each other every Wednesday night. If we could just keep each other accountable, make sure like everyone's good. But yeah.
All right. Anybody else have thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's Brie again. I think that because I do see these girls every day, I think that we do keep each other accountable. Like I would say, if I'm talking about certain situations or I'm trying to get advice, I don't really know what to do, they will definitely keep me accountable. Well, what do you think the Holy Spirit is leading you into? Have you prayed about it? You literally just talked about wanting to do this or do this, and they definitely do keep me accountable in the sense of don't go off what your worldly feelings are. Go off what you think Jesus would say to you if he was here. I think
that's really good because I think that is one of the values of a group like this, right? Is that you do know each other and you can be real with each other, but you also can say, hey, wait a minute, have you thought that through? I'm not meaning in a judging way, but in a helpful way. Are you sure that's the right direction to move in? Yeah.
I like that. So how about this? We have had 2 of our 3 sessions at Bold so far. You guys, anybody want to take a shot at helping everybody listening kind of catch up what we've been talking about at Bold so far as everybody pulls their notes? I'm a big fan of notebooks. I'm a big fan of notebooks. The older you get, if you don't write it down, you don't remember it. So I'm here for it. Who wants to catch us up?
I'll catch us up a little bit on last night's. My name's Ashley. I am a junior. Ashley Cumby. I'm a junior at Bramford. So last night's was actually really amazing. I think that a lot of people really felt the Spirit of God in the room. And I just literally felt the Spirit so heavy during worship and during the message. I think what's amazing about that is when you feel the Spirit of the Lord so thick in the room, it's like time disappears. It felt like we could have just kept worshiping for like 15, 20 more minutes because everybody was so on fire. Pastor Chip had a really, really good message. I feel like it really hit everybody on performative Christianity and kind of just our mindset and how we should just have the mindset of not looking at ourselves and kind of wanting to do things for the right reasons and prioritizing private worship.
So hold on a minute, Ashley. Can you expound a little bit on performative Christianity?
Yeah.
What's that mean?
So performative Christianity is faith for others to see, and where we basically try to look closer to God. So that could be either, raising your hands because you want to appear like you are, really on fire for the Holy Spirit, or you want to appear like you look one way, but it's where you're not actually being, I feel like, rooted deeply or having a good foundation, in my opinion. And so he talked really about, one of my favorite things that I wrote down was the danger isn't looking fake, but it's staying fake so long that you never learn how to be real with God, and just stressing that importance of not only doing the bare minimum, not doing performative Christianity, but curing it through our private worship and not being so attracted to our image in the public. And I think it really touched a lot of our lives. We had a really, really long, really, really good small group, which we tend to always have.
Yappers.
We like to talk a lot. But yes, it was really good. I'm going to say this because it was my favorite thing that Chip said the whole night.
Y'all are dumb.
That one was a good one. He did say y'all are dumb. He did say y'all are dumb. Yes.
Show me the lies.
And what I noticed is nobody disagreed with me.
No, everybody said yes. Everybody said yes. Yes. But it was my lowest point with Jesus is sweeter than my highest point with the crowd, and that our relationship is basically always a roller coaster if we allow our relationship with Jesus to be set by ourselves, because our emotions are a roller coaster, and sometimes we feel really on fire for God, and sometimes we feel like God is really far away, even though he's not. So that was last night.
Yeah. So how about this? Do you guys ever catch yourself in that performative Christianity mode? All right, I see heads nodding. Talking in my microphone. Where do you see? Like, where do you find yourself falling into that without even meaning it?
not to yap too much, but
You go,
No,
Bree.
I
Get on
talked
there, Bree.
about I talked about this last night in our small group because that was kind of one of the questions. Where do you tend to like fall into the performative Christianity category, I guess? And being a teenager is hard. I'm sure everybody knows that. And
I think Eddie and I can remember back then.
it's not the easiest, especially whenever I'm kind of a people pleaser, and I have a very diverse group of friends. Like I said this last night, but I have worldly friends that don't really follow Jesus very closely, and then I have this group Christ-like friends, and I feel like I try to be performative in both ways. I try to be performative to this group of girls that are like really trying to keep me in check with my relationship with Christ, and I try to be almost like smarter in a sense. I try to talk more like Jesus, or I try to walk more like Jesus. But then if I get with my worldly group of friends, I try to be performative in the fact that I want to try to fit in with them, and I kind of put my relationship with Christ to the side. I'm not as bold about it. I'm not as, oh yeah, guys, well, maybe we should stop doing this. I don't think Jesus would do this if he was here with us. And I just don't say that because I get kind of scared. But
So I think it's interesting. Y'all both in your answer, really good answers, by the way. But I think also then that leads to what happened this morning when Austin talked about performative serving.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody tell us about that.
Okay, I'll hop on here again. Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm back. One of the things that I looked down and the first thing that I saw was don't try to impress God in today's devotion is something that we talked about. This wasn't in the message this morning, but in today's devotion, we talked about private worship is where our faith became real and without anyone watching. So it's not trying to impress God, not trying to, do what you think God wants you to do, but serving like Austin talked about this morning, not because of what we want our image to be or because we want to look better for ourselves and not acting and, going out of that pride that we carry in us as, fleshly sinners, but acting in humility and serving because that is what Jesus did. And Jesus set that example, like Austin was talking about today, because he served even Judas, who was going to betray him, and he served everybody by washing their feet, and that our greatest need is to be cleansed. And even in his glory and power, he kneeled and he served. So we should as well.
Yeah. The washing the feet thing is kind of weird, right? Because Jesus didn't have, on clouds back in the day, right? It was like open-toed, dirt roads, washing their feet. And
Well, Austin tried to illustrate that this morning.
He went in depth too. He went
he tried.
Sorry, that's a little bit of a private joke, but anyway.
Yeah, I actually want to swing that mic all the way around to one of my friends over here, Miss Ansley, because she helped us with an object lesson this morning that kind of relates to that, because you and your brother got to participate in a game this morning that kind of illustrated some of that. Would you care to, comment?
Oh, yeah. So this morning, our game leading off the morning session was each two people from each color team. And me and my brother both happened to be on pink. And of course, I raised my hand. Obviously, he raised his hand. And
You say obviously he raised his hand.
Every time there's a game, he's jumping, he's doing his best to get in. So we both got picked, and we go up there, and Mr. Kevin is explaining the rules.
I'm sorry, it's not Mr. Kevin.
Uncle Kevin.
Crazy Uncle Kevin.
Crazy Uncle Kevin was saying the rules, and I thought it was a joke at first because he says, okay, so someone's going to take their sock off, and there's already Sprite cans on the table, right? He's like, so we're going to open the Sprite cans and put your sock over the Sprite. So whether he was joking or not, I was not about to drink out of my brother's sock. That was just not happening for me.
Can I interrupt just 1 minute? You get back to it? Yeah, I was looking there. And first of all, isn't this sweet? We got a brother and a sister. And I knew what was coming. And so I'm looking real close. And Ansley was so funny because she said, I can read her lips all the way from the back. I am not drinking from that side.
Hey, I'm going to be honest with you. I thought they were joking for a minute.
Yeah.
I was not 100% certain.
well,
I totally thought he was joking.
Yeah, I had no clue whether they were joking or not, but I was being a little precautious. So I just went ahead and took my sock off because, like I said, I'm not drinking out of
Was
Easton's
Easton
sock.
wearing socks?
I mean, maybe.
I don't know. I didn't know if he was crocking
If
out
they
this morning.
were, I
But
don't
you
know if they were
knew-
clean.
Yeah, I was going to say, you knew that if he was, they were going to be clean.
Yeah, so they told us to put the sock over the Sprite. So I put my sock over the Sprite, and Easton's freaking out. He started to tear up. He's like,
Bro,
"Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do
Easton
this."
was wigging for a minute.
Right? So
I go ahead and put my sock over the Sprite can, and sure enough, he downs the Sprite
Look,
and we win. But
Easton clutched up.
he did.
He
Yeah.
did. He pushed through that.
He freaked out a little bit, but
Bree
got
did
through
it too.
Yeah, Bree got second place.
She
You
almost
did.
threw
And you
up.
actually drank from his
Yes.
sock. Because I don't think they can hear you say
Did you
that.
really?
I did. Go ahead. Here, Bree, take the mic. Tell them how you threw up.
Rayleigh just broke the microphone.
Okay, so it's Bree again. I actually also participated, and I was the one that had to drink out of my peer's sock, and I was crying. I did get second place, though. I'm
Yeah, you
kind of
did.
mad I didn't clutch up as hard as Easton, but
Hey, here's the
I
question.
did throw up after
Did
it.
it taste
you
different?
really?
It tasted like a dirty wet sock would.
No, it didn't.
Yes. No, it did. You smell socks like, ooh, that sock needs to be washed. That's what it tasted like. I could taste it. And it wasn't even somebody I knew either.
So, you know what, though? I felt kind of sorry for the person whose sock was used because
They
now,
didn't have a sock.
Well, they didn't have a sock. What do they do the rest of the day?
Wet sock with Sprite on it.
That is too funny.
glimpse into
It
bold.
was fun to watch. I'm sorry, Bree. I know it was painful,
Bold Olympics.
but it was.
Bold.
That I take back my best memory. Earlier, that was my best memory.
That was your best memory? Oh my gosh. That is so
On
wild.
the Facebook page later.
Yeah, forget all that Jesus stuff. It was
That's right. Yeah, what was your favorite part of Bold? I got to drink from a stranger's sock. It was amazing. All right, that was crazy. So yeah, that was a thing. How about this? Since we're talking about games are a big part of Bold. There's some fun games going on. Some of you who've been here for more than a year, or even if you haven't, what are some of your favorite games that you remember from Bold? Do you have any? Go Sophia. I see
Sophie's
it.
already reaching.
Actually, this is Sophia. There's a picture on Facebook, so you can go check it out. It's me and my brother. We were.
Give me a like on Insta.
We were. It's on the Orchard page. We
Yeah,
were
it
playing
is.
the sponge one, so you had to like
Wait, the what?
the sponge game, the slip and slide sponge game.
Okay. So explain it.
So you have a bucket on both sides of the slip and slide, and you fill up a sponge with water, and then you slip down the slip and slide, and then the first team to like squeeze all. Well, then you have to like squeeze the water out of the sponge into the other bucket, and then run. It's like a relay. Relay? What's it?
Relay. We got you. We got you.
Out.
No, that's
A
gonna be it.
relay.
Hey, you know what just occurred to me while you were talking? You said that about your brother. Actually, her brother Ethan was one of our guests.
Was on the
last year.
podcast last year.
Podcast.
That's right.
So now you're even.
Well, matter of fact, he's going to be brokenhearted when he hears it because he enjoyed it. He did a really good job, and now he's going to know that
Haha.
the twin has now hopped on.
I would just
Actually,
like to add, Sophia called me and Rylan freaking out, needing a blow dryer, and was almost in tears. He's screaming, "Does anybody have a blow dryer? Because my hair is soaked!" And was freaking out.
Yeah, well, because I was running and I was trying not to get wet because I wasn't slipping and sliding like Ethan was. Actually, he broke a bucket. While
He
doing it.
broke
I thought you were going to say a bone. And I was like, he just hurt his ankle.
And I was running and I was doing really well, not getting wet. And then all of a sudden, my feet slipped out from under me and I fell straight on my back. And I landed in the dirt. And it was
So is that the best memory?
yeah, it was actually kind of fun because I beat my brother. Go green, go
Did
green
you
team.
really?
Yeah, I
Green
beat him.
team for the win. That's right. Green team. I was behind Easton for that game, but I'm green team all the way. It's got to be green team for me. So both my kids are on green team. So anybody else favorite game?
So me, Ashley, and Ella played Capture the Flag, but not the kind of capture the flag that we all think about. And Anne's, yeah. It was the kind. Oh, really? You did it too? Did we all do Capture the Flag?
Most of us.
Wait, I'm shocked. You guys all picked the same game to go to?
Well, yeah. It was strategic if you couldn't tell.
Yeah. It is the kind where you have like the little flag football things around your waist and you basically just run around and you're trying to pull the other team's flags off. Ashley and I had the great idea to just, hide. And we were like, if they don't get our flags, it's points for our team. And, we decided that we had to be proactive and go out and try to help our team. So as we're running out, there's like these metal, I don't even know what they were. Like poles or some kind of equipment that was like metal sticking up out of the ground. And as we're running, all I hear Ashley go, ow, my leg. And I look down and there's like dents in her shins from our escape route. So that's
From
a
your
pretty,
escape route.
pretty fun memory.
I'm just surprised that you guys don't have the same favorite game that I had. and it was not from Bold this year. So a bunch of guys were at Bold last year, right? You remember the Bold Olympics. One of my favorite ones from last year. Do any of you guys remember the Lego building from last year? So we had a bunch of different games like you could go
Boy,
to.
Chip, they are really excited about
Look, I'm telling you, this was my favorite because we had like a bunch of different games you go to just like this year to compete for your team to win points. But we know every kid is not like the most outgoing, active, athletic kid or whatever. And so one of the games was the teams had Lego sets that they had to complete the Lego set. And I want to tell you, when I went over there to watch them, they were so locked in on building those Lego sets. It was the wildest thing. If you've never seen competitive Lego building, oh my gosh, they were flying through pieces, had them like sorted out, like locked in. And when one of them finished ahead of the other ones, I'm telling you, like everybody who around was watching them just lost it because it was crazy. It was epic. So that's my favorite game. You guys are lame. All right. So,
Well, I can tell you now, I know these girls pretty well. And one thing I will say about them is they are all really competitive. At whatever they do, they're very competitive.
except grabbing the microphone to talk.
Yeah.
Except for Bree. Hey, get him, Bree. Hey, look, Bree's gonna have her own podcast. It's gonna be, hey, it's Bree again. Hey, it's Bree again.
Sorry, I like to talk. Sorry, it's
No, I love it. I love it.
I do kind of like that title. That's catchy.
It's catchy. Isn't it?
Catchy, yeah.
Hey, did you guys hear about what we were gonna name Pastor Eddie's podcast?
Oh my!
Get ready with Eddie.
I'm a fan
Isn't
of that
that great?
title.
How many of you think that he should
I
change
think
that?
we should use that title.
I love that.
Get ready with Eddie.
Get ready with Eddie. It's like a
Yeah, actually, Brittany, I think shared that with her group last night.
That's amazing. It's amazing. It's so great.
to call it that now.
I know. It's good. It's good. So let's shift gears away from Bold for just a minute and maybe just talk more about being junior, senior in high school, your generation, because what statistics tell you is that in your generation, there are less Christians now than there have been at that point in previous generations. I don't think that that's necessarily true because what I think is it just used to be a lot more popular for people to say they're a Christian. And so they would say they're a Christian, but they probably didn't have like a real relationship with Jesus. Now, if you're going to say you're a Christian, how about this? Saying you're a Christian in Branford or Lake City or Live Oak is one thing. Saying you're a Christian in Chicago or Detroit or Atlanta, a little bit different. So I think what we would say is that nominal Christianity, which is just like, hey, I'm naming myself a Christian, is probably on the decline. I'm not convinced that actual Christianity in your generation is on the decline, but I know there are some unique challenges for your generation. So if you had to think about it, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges that your generation faces in your faith and following Jesus?
Hey, it's Ryland. I think one of the biggest challenges that our generation faces with following Jesus is definitely social media. Our phones take so much of our attention. And last night, Pastor Tripp was talking about what we give our attention to is kind of like what we become, I guess, in a way. Let me find exactly what you said. You said, yeah, what you give your attention to is what shapes you. And so I think a lot of us, we talked about this in our small group, we don't think we spend that much time on our cell phones, but if you really go and look at the screen time, it's really convicting to see.
All right, let's do it. Who wants to be brave and just random pull up their screen time and see what their screen time is? Who wants to do it?
My phone.
Who wants to do it? You doing it, Rayleigh? Let's see. Rayleigh's doing it.
Rayleigh's doing it.
All right. What are we guessing? Somebody, before she pulls it up, somebody give me a guess. What do you think? About 5?
I'm going
say
8.
7 hours a day.
8. What do we think? 5. How about this? If you think above, let's call it 7. If you think above 7, raise your hand.
It might be bad.
If you think below 7, raise your hand.
I think it's more than
Okay.
below 7.
I'm going to go below 7. I'm going below. All right. So what do we got, Rayleigh?
6:31.
There it is.
All right.
There it is. All right. Who else?
Still not the greatest.
Sophie's a 6, and her total. Wait, say your total screen time for this week is 42 hours and 4 minutes.
Sophia.
All right. I'm not gonna leave you on an island.
That's 2 days.
2 days?
I'm not gonna leave you on an island here.
That's how many days? 2 days?
How many? You guys want to guess what my screen time is? Average daily?
3 hours.
Guess high. No, guess high.
Guess.
I'm thinking 8.
Well, you work on your phone. You're on your phone right now. I'm going to say it's
Yeah, you might like do a little work on your phone, something, and like 8.
If
Like
you, all
probably.
right, how about this? I want you to go around the table. If you're willing to give a guess, I will buy a coffee for the person who's the closest.
okay. Yep.
Wait, weekly or daily? What are we guessing?
We're gonna go my daily average this week.
Okay. Daily average today, this week?
Daily average this week.
Come on, Sophie.
I'm going to say 8 hours and 37 minutes.
Okay, 8 hours, 37 minutes.
Oh, I have to.
This is Reagan.
This is Reagan.
Yeah, hi. 9 hours?
9 hours,
I'm Callie. I'm gonna guess 8 hours and 45 minutes.
8 hours, 45 minutes.
Okay, it's Ashley. I'm guessing 10 hours and 35 minutes.
Do you guys think I not sleep? Oh my gosh.
Okay, I'm gonna guess 750.
750. What do you think, Ella?
I'm Ella. I'm going to guess 8 hours.
8 hours.
Yeah.
Rayleigh.
Okay, it's Rayleigh. I'm gonna say like 7:25ish.
Okay.
It's Rylan. I'm going with Reagan. I think it's like 9.
I low-key, hey, it's Kaylee. I low-key think maybe 10 because of his working hours.
And
My name's Ansley. I think maybe like 5.5.
Oh, Ann's is low.
So before you reveal, do I get a guess?
go ahead.
So
I'll buy you a coffee, Pastor Eddie.
What is the highest guess to this point?
10:50.
1050?
I mean 30.
1051.
1051. All right.
1051. And it's not. Go ahead.
1051. All
You
right.
know why I say that? Because he uses it on the golf course too.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking he uses it a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys didn't know about that, did you? All right. So, Ansley, what was yours? 5.5 hours. 5.5 hours. Looks like Ansley's getting a coffee. 4:43. 4:43.
He picked a low day.
That's a daily average. It's an average.
It's yesterday.
All right. So, but it's true. Like, even how weird is it that we think 4 hours, almost 5 hours, is low?
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of wild to think about that, right? Like, that's sitting down and watching 2.5 full movies, right, on your phone every day. So I do think that is a big challenge. What is the biggest part of that besides how it forms you? What about, we talked about performative Christianity. Do you feel compelled to like have a certain image or presence online and social media? What's that like? Because that's what's weird for me. Because it's weird for me to like even put things on social media. The only things I put on social media, stuff from the church, stuff about my wife and kids, or stuff that's absolutely hilarious.
Hey, it's Ashley. I think a lot of people do that now. I think a lot of our generation gets sucked into the like Bible verses. I think everybody wants to have a Bible verse in their bio. And I think...
Do you have a Bible verse in your bio?
Yes, I have Matthew 6:34, which is therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Okay. I have Bible verse in there.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's on my glove too. But anyways, I think a lot of people have a Bible verse in their bio, which I almost am a little bit... Okay, I don't know how to explain it, but I think it's general for people to have that in there. But then the hard part is they'll have it in their bio, but then you'll see, okay, well, this person has a Bible verse in their bio, but then sometimes their lives don't always reflect that. And sometimes those are the people that you're like, okay, well, you're claiming to be a Christian, but sometimes, okay, well, if they're a Christian, do I act like that? Am I supposed to live like that? Is that what like a Christian's going to live like? And so I think it goes back into performative Christianity, where it's this image we are wanting to curate for like everybody to see.
Yeah, that is really a lot of wisdom there. I think you're right. That's the thing that bothers me about it sometimes, I think, is it is very performative. And if your lifestyle doesn't match it, you have to be careful about that, right?
Yeah, that's good. Anybody else got thoughts on that? Like about feeling pressured to have a certain image or put certain things on your social media?
Bree wants it. Here, Bree, you want this one?
Hey, it's Bree. Your question was feeling pressured.
Yeah. Do you feel pressured to like put certain things on social media or have a certain image online?
Yes. I was going to say not necessarily pressured to put something out online about my faith, not necessarily to, have this in my bio, or, I need an Instagram post a day of clipping something like a Bible account says or something. Not necessarily having that pressure, but I feel the pressure of if I'm going to claim myself to be a Christian, like if I'm going to claim publicly, yes, I believe in Christ and I follow this way and I follow what the Bible says and stuff. Like I feel really pressured to try and live that out to my best
that I can. And I feel like, I mean, obviously I'm human and I'm going to make mistakes. Obviously I'm not perfect and like I'm going to mess up. I'm young. And I just feel like people can be really judgy if I mess up, but I claim to be a Christian. And I feel like I have the pressure to, not necessarily the pressure to be perfect in a sense, but I have the pressure of if I'm going to claim this, I have to live it out. And I feel like that's just my take on it. Not necessarily, oh, put this in your bio, put this in your bio, or post this. But it's like, I don't want to post it because if I post it, then I know that I'm going to get judged in a sense, like some kind of backlash for posting that because people are going to think, well, she makes mistakes. But I feel like,
I get that.
I feel like people, in my opinion, I feel like that's just being judgy. And like, obviously God says like, don't judge anybody because nobody's perfect.
Hey,
that's my take.
Look at me. I don't have an Orchard bumper sticker on my truck because I don't want people to judge me when I start getting mad when I'm driving. Sometimes I'll be getting road rage.
You know, I thought about that when she was saying that, but I wasn't going to out you. I really
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
everybody's asked me, do you have like one of those Orchard stickers on your truck? Absolutely not. When I blow the doors off an old lady on Branford Highway, I don't know I go to the Orchard.
Yeah, he just said that at a meeting this week. I know what you want.
I know. That's good. So how about this? This is a weird question, and it may reveal my unk status here. Which social media do you think is most helpful to your faith? And which social media do you think is most dangerous to your faith?
I don't think there's any helpful social media to your faith at all.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, sometimes, in a way, sometimes there's good people on TikTok that say, give good messages, but it's really easy to, a lot of you know Trey Lee. I saw him post something on his Facebook literally last week, and it was like, be careful because there are so many people prophesying and there's so many people spreading the gospel that are a wolf in sheep's clothing. And so I think there's a lot of people that have great things to say on social media and have great things to say on TikTok that sometimes bring great messages to people and help people have revivals in their life. But I think there's a lot of people that influence people in the wrong way because they use the platform and don't spread truth.
Yeah, because, as this podcast is proof, anybody can have a microphone.
Yeah, literally.
Okay, it's Rayleigh again. So I think obviously every social media can have its pros and cons, but for me, when you asked that question, I immediately thought of Instagram Reels. And yeah, I'm a Reels girl, sorry.
So you just basically TikTok 3 weeks later.
Yeah. So basically, obviously everything can be good and bad, but when I think of it like Instagram Reels, I always think of everything that Rylan sends me on Instagram Reels.
All right.
Because we be sending Reels back and forth about little Bible verses or like self-confidence things. And that honestly is such a good thing about it, is that you can use it in that positive light.
I like that. That's good.
So I think that's really good. I tend to agree with Bree here.
Get her a podcast.
Yeah. However,
hey, it's me. It's Bree again. No. I got it. Are you ready? Hey, it's me. It's Bree.
Again.
Well, but here's what I would add. I would add to that that I think that the other ladies have been right too. I think you have to take something that is not inherently helpful and make it helpful, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're just watching your algorithms. You're watching, okay, what's coming to my feed, et cetera. And so, I mean, Chip knows I'm not a big social media fan. However, we try to use it in good ways, right? And so I think that is a big key because you can't dodge everything in life that's evil, right?
Social media is a great tool, horrible master.
Yes. Yeah. But Bree, I do kind of agree with you.
It's Bria back.
I'm just going to say that I think it's personal preference because I know myself and I know that if I get on a social media, whether it's Instagram or whether it's TikTok or anything, I know personally that I'm gonna end up doom scrolling. So that's why I say, like, for me, it's just better for me to not have anything. And the only thing, if I'm bored, open my Bible. If I'm bored, hey God, it's me again. Literally, like,
So,
that's
hey,
why
Bree.
I say that.
So, hey, Bree, it's me.
Hey, it's Bree.
I totally agree and say amen to that. I think that is the thing with me. I'm very similar. That's why it's not that I don't like it. It's that I guard my time and my eyes, right? So
that's good. How about this? Let's see how transparent you're willing to get. Honest. And I don't know, maybe you will be honest. Does anybody have a burner account on one of your socials? You do?
100.
What?
Yeah.
So actually, did have a spam account, and then I felt really convicted about it, and I actually did just delete it like a few days ago.
Oh no, mine's just to stalk people on so they don't see that I look at their pages. I don't post anything on mine.
Yeah. Anybody else that you say you got one? I know that I have a good friend of mine whose name rhymes with Lay Tree. Who would tell you that he has a burner Twitter account just so that he can troll Mets fans during baseball season.
Post stuff on
So just to troll Mets fans during baseball season. So
Why Mets fans?
because we're Braves fans, we hate the Mets.
must not like the Mets.
We hate the Mets. We're not bandwagon fans like you Dodgers fans.
Well, I knew you were a Braves fan. That's why I was wondering what's up with the Mets. I didn't realize that was such a rivalry.
Oh yeah. So,
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
yeah, I was just curious. I've never had a burner account because if I'm going to troll somebody, I just want them to know. As a matter of fact, actually, Eddie can verify that I have asked some of our other pastors what they thought about me jumping on some gossip pages and just commenting as the church.
You know?
Yeah, we
With the
tried to overrule him on that one though.
You did. I backed down. So, all right, final question, and maybe give a little thought to it. Let's see if you hadn't hopped in. Maybe it's a good chance to hop in. What is one thing that you wish the older generations knew or understood that would help you in your faith more? Like maybe one thing they did differently, one thing that they understood better that you just feel like they don't get, that it makes, faith in your generation hard.
Hi, it's Ella. I think one thing that my parents and like the older generation didn't have as much or any, I guess, is social media. And I don't really have that much. I only have Instagram and I just got it. But it is very, I think, effective, and it can be like good and bad in that. And I've just like noticed how my mom tells me to like not really feed in or let it affect me, but it still does either way.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to tell like others about that when they're not my age or understanding where we are. And I feel like other people on there can try to be like aesthetic with everything that they do, and it's not real.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to compare my life to others when I don't know what their actual life looks like. And it just kind of looks like perfect. And it's really hard to deal with that.
Yeah.
So is it, can I speak up as an older person?
Yes.
Because I would say this: cut your parents some slack, because it is very hard, because we grew up so different. We grew up so different that it's just, unreal. Listen, I was born and the only phone you had was one you shared with all your neighbors, right? So, I'm ancient, but it is hard, and it's hard for them. All they see is the danger, right? They just see the danger. And so it's very hard because they want to guard you from that. I see what you're saying, though. And so I try to be a little different in that and try to watch that. But yeah, cut them slack.
That's good. What else? Anybody got some thoughts?
This is Ryland. One thing that I think about the older generation is that, especially around here, I feel like we get locked into tradition a lot, like growing up traditional, like what like a quote Baptist like looks like kind of thing. And I think one thing I would tell the older generation is that worship and like our relationship with Jesus can look different. Just because we don't worship the same way doesn't mean we don't have the same relationship kind of thing. And I don't know, I just feel like everything doesn't have to fit into a certain mold anymore.
That's good.
Like be open to revival.
Yeah.
I like it.
Amen.
I like it. Anybody else got some deep thought? This is your chance to tell the 18 people that are going to listen to this podcast your
Top
deep thoughts.
50%.
Top 50%.
It's Brie again. I was going to say kind of what Ryland said, because I feel like the older generation is very like, I talked about being judgy people in my generation earlier, but I think the older generation is equally, or if not more, just as judgy to what young people do, especially in a small town. I feel like there's a lot of gossip and stuff that goes amongst the parents, like gossiping about the kids and stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like I wish that the older generation would understand that everybody was saying the social media and stuff. Our lives are not completely different, but I don't think the older people understand how different it actually is. Like the social norms are so different inside and outside of the church. So Ryland said, I wish that they would understand that just because we do stuff differently, say I want to run around the church during worship, don't judge me for that.
Have you ever ran around the church during worship?
Last night,
Almost
me
did
and
last night.
Ashley, last night, me and Ashley were like actually thinking about it.
I was about to say, like, my inner Pentecostal was coming out. I was like,
take a lap.
take my shoes off
But
and run.
that's just one thing that I wish I could be like.
So essentially, you want
please
to tell them, be like, hey, look, mind your business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My relationship with Christ doesn't have to look like going and sitting in a pew every Sunday and then leaving.
It can look
That's
like sitting
my
in
outlook.
auditorium chairs in your high school.
It could look like that.
Yeah. All right.
That's one thing I like about the Orchard is it's very non-conformative to the standard. Literally, you originated in a hotel. I feel like any other
Actually,
Baptist.
we originated in Eddie's living room.
Well, there's that. But I feel like anybody else would be like, that ain't a real church.
Yeah.
I feel like
we've
that's not
heard that
true.
before.
After they did this, they still have that opinion sometimes.
So let me give some older person wisdom here, because here's what I learned in thinking that, because I agree, Bree, with what you're saying, and Ryland, and I think that is very true. And I think really and truly that is the burden. We've talked about, preached on Nehemiah the last couple of weeks at the Orchard, and the burden that Nehemiah had. And I think the burden that God placed on our heart to start the Orchard was young people. And we were not particularly young when we did that. And so, but there was a heavy burden for young people, and for us to be able to find a place for young people to come and be able to worship freely without that judgment and so forth, so on. So I'm coming from that platform. However, what I've learned along the way is you got to flip that way of thinking also and understand the way some older people enjoy worship. And it's not, now I don't mean the ones that are just, stuck in the mud doing what we've done for 100 years just for public. To see. But I'm talking about there are genuine people who worship quietly, calmly, who don't run laps around the auditorium. Although I would join you on that lap. I'm telling you. In fact,
I would not.
Yes.
Listen,
Yesterday was.
In fact, what was it, the song y'all were hopping up and down on?
Praise.
Praise. Yeah, so I'm hopping up and down. I looked over at Malia. She was sitting next to me with the baby. And I looked at Malia and I said, I'm hopping on the inside. I had no energy to hop on the outside, but I'm hopping on the inside.
Now, I think that's a really good word, though, is that, and I agree, if you want other people to say, hey, look, just because we worship different doesn't mean we're not worshiping.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes both ways, right? So when Erin walks into the office and I'm blaring my bluegrass music in the office, she can't judge me for being an old man. Yeah, it's a true story. You guys will hear it later. But I do think that's a good point, is that runs across the spectrum, is, somebody whose hands never are lifted could be just as sincere as somebody's whose hands are, and somebody's whose hands are lifted can be just as performative as the person who's more concerned about what everybody's wearing and if they're standing the right way in their pew, So
that's why I thought last night was really a powerful message and a powerful thing to get, because that was the whole point, right?
Yeah.
You do what you do, I do what I do. We are ourselves, and we worship God the way we are felt to worship and built to worship. And so, yeah, that's good. And one more thing, say about worship before I know we got to bring this to a close, but I think this morning was one of my all-time favorite moments in Bold, because I thought it was so incredible at the worship moment this morning before Austin got up. When I look up there and I see, okay, so Jackson is leading the guitar and leading the first song, and Ryland is there, and Lauren is there, and then all of you students are up there at the front, and then through the whole thing, but especially at the end, Ryland, I love the way you pulled the mic back and just let the voices be heard, and I thought, this is the next generation, and there is great hope for the next generation. A lot of older people, the mistake we make is these young kids today, they. No. Man, I'm getting chills right now just thinking about it, you guys. You are that next generation, and seeing you worship like that this morning with your own students, your own colleagues as the worship leaders. Now, I know Lucas was up there fooling around with the drum. He just wanted to be in on it. But, I mean, it was an incredible moment. So thank you for letting me be a part of that.
Yeah, it is really cool. And there is, if you're listening to this, I hope you understand, there's hope for the next generation, but not just hope. There's excitement about the next generation.
Yeah.
Like they take faith seriously.
Absolutely.
And they got a good head on their shoulders, at least the girls. The boys, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. All right. Any final words, ladies, before we get out of here?
Oh, Bree's got a word.
Go.
Yeah, mine is.
Bree, I
You
agree.
said thank you for that moment of worship. I want to say thank you to the pastors and thank you to Pastor Eddie for starting this all. Sometimes I
That's
look back at
right.
Pastor Eddie whenever he's worshiping and I'm like, man, he started this thing. That's incredible.
Let's get
Thank you,
ready with
Pastor
Eddie.
Eddie.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you for being obedient to the Spirit,
Well,
Pastor
thank
Eddie.
you. Thank
Love you.
And by the way, the band last night was incredible. So I'm not dissing them at all. That was incredible last night. For those of you who have never been to Bold, you ought to come. I mean, it's incredible.
You ought to give us a heads up you're coming because we got some mean security guys that'll keep you out.
Oh, that's true.
Grumpy. What else?
My final word is tonight, catch the Facebook page after the final service of Bold to see a video of Pastor Chip doing laps around the auditorium.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
He will be joining, just saying.
All right. I hear you. Anybody else? We got anything? All right. Well, that's it. And we'll catch you back next week right here on Let's Talk About That.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Let's Talk About That. We hope it encouraged and challenged you as we continue to grow on this journey of faith and embrace community together. If you have more questions, thoughts, or feedback, we want to hear from you. Be sure to reach out to us through our social media or visit our website to stay connected. If you found today's discussion meaningful, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Until next time, we hope that this episode inspired you and will keep Sunday's message at the front of your mind. See you next week.